Well, you look at mentors do things. There's mentors and mentors, and there's just, also I tell people just hang out with people that are bigger and better than you, that are things like, it's kind of the same thing as the mentor aspect, right? If they're around someone that's always progressing and are positive, like that's going to rub off on you, right? And that's the same thing as having a direct mentor, not in some ways, right? A direct mentor is someone working on with you one-on-one, but just being around people and having a mentor, I think is big. Like I said, up to, a year ago, I never really had a direct mentor. So but for me, mentor is a respect thing as well. Like someone I really respect as a person and business and family. For me, that's all three. If someone's just super successful and a douchebag about it, like that's not respect. If someone's, even Tony Robbins, I respect him, but the guy's been married 5 times. Like, what's talk about?
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
I met him backstage, and he's amazing. He's a great speaker, but same thing, like that family aspect.
That's not something you would want. I wouldn't want that.
It's having everything. Like me to have full respect to someone. It's health, it's family, it's leadership, it's everything. It's
stability.
And few people ever have that. So if you can find someone that is that person for you, and that's positive, that's going to help you see a different perspective, get you to the next level, but it's also hard on you and you need to be hard on you and have the hard truths. It's super important. But I always say start with your friend group first. Get rid of the people that are negative, that are toxic, that are taking your energy away from you. Do that first and start hanging out with people that are on the other spectrum, and you'll see yourself rise. And then if you find someone that you respect enough, ask them to be your mentor. Like, hey, I respect you so much. Can you teach me? I don't want anything for it other than just your time. I'm going to do whatever you say to do because I respect you. Like for me, if someone comes to me and tells me that, I'm going to take them underneath my wing. They're not asking for anything other than my time, and they show me they want it. Let's give it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's I think it's so essential to save time from the mistakes that you and I probably have both also made starting a business. You mentioned you have other businesses as well. We could talk about some of those if you want. But, the learning curve, I would say, is a little bit smaller if you have someone that tells you, hey, I've been through that. You don't want to turn right here. And if you do, this is going to happen to you. You're going to have to turn left 6 times,
Well, and the one thing is you got to let go of that pride and that mindset. Because even my wife, when we started growing and I started learning from people around me, or I'll tell her like, oh, they said this, like, what do they know? I'm like, well, they've got 2 kids, been married 20 years. I think they know a few things, right? Some people, like, they try to fall because like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, you got to let go of it. Like, you don't know everything. I'm constantly learning. I'm not always right. But I'm always want to learn. And I'm never going to not listen to an opportunity. Because I call someone, they're shut up. Oh, I've heard this before. I'm like, you heard everything I've said. Let's go. Or like, I'm not going to take the time. And you're just like, I'm like, even at my level, like I would talk to someone, I will hear you out. I will give you time because it may be something that changes my life. It may be something I learn, maybe, something I get perspective on. So, don't shut other people off right away. Like take the time to listen to people because you may learn something that changes you.
That's awesome. At your level, especially, you're not cocky, you're not arrogant, and you're humble about it. I think it's where you grew up and how you were raised. That plays a big part in it. Let's talk about Instagram. Having 1 million followers, you're the first guest, I think, on my podcast that has 1 million followers. In terms of Instagram, what are the good and bad? Like, I'm sure you're getting some people that are jealous on there, and there's a lot of negative waves that come at you, or people that, you may not know what you're talking about. And I think women get it much worse than men being on the platform. I'm not sure if your wife is also as active on there. But what do you see with Instagram? Like, what are the good and the bad of having so many people or so much attention on you? Or what is the good and bad of that?
Well, you're always going to have haters, right? There's going to be the trolls, the internet trolls, right? But most people, like, once again, like, I'll use an example, kind of relative, but not, right? So I put up one of my properties, a personal one of my properties. We vibe out a lot of our stuff. Like we made this house in Arizona, Versace villa, right?
Oh, wow.
I love it. Behind it. It's themed out to the max, and I think it's really cool. And we do really good in all of our vibes, stuff like that. But you start reading the response and somebody like, this is an amazing house. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Why would you spend millions of dollars on this? I want to have my next party. I want to book this now. This is my dream. And why would you ever live in this? So most of the people that are negative and toxic are never going to get to your level, right? Like we talked about earlier. So what's their way of feeling better about it? Well, I'm going to trash this in my mind so I feel better about myself. And it's a poor mentality. right? And I tell people, let it go. Like if you're spending time and energy making a crappy comment about something, why? What does that benefit?
Yeah.
Right? It's different.
And it doesn't, and it may get your attention, but not in a way where you're going to want to talk to that person further, but yet they're sticking around, right?
I talk about it a lot. Just let it go. Like for me, it's like, why do you put attention on negativity? Like if you took that attention and put it into something positive or something meaningful or work, what could you do with it?
Yeah.
Right. So so anyone, like when you get those messages, and we all get, I have feelings, like I get hurt. Is there times you're like, oh, man, it bums you out a little bit? And we had trolls at one point, hunting us down, block all the stuff, and you get those people. But you got to learn that as you rise, you're always going to have a lot of people that are pissed off about it, right? Because they're jealous. And there's a lot of fake people that are waiting for you to fail. Like at this point in my life, I'm sure a lot of people are like, this guy just never stops. Like I wish you would just not do well, right? Like in even health, he's like, I'm always dialed in. I'm always working out. If I gain 20 pounds, I'm sure a couple of my friends are like,
right. Welcome to our realm or whatever they are, right?
Yeah. But that's for me, like I said earlier, like success for me is having having the fitness down, having the business down, having my relationship, having a good relationship with my kids, being a good father. Like that's something I work on in every avenue. So at this point, for someone to come at me, you better be better than me in every one of those aspects. And 99.9 of people will not be. So I don't take their advice and I don't take those remarks as negative, because you're always gonna have haters. If you're doing something big, you're always gonna have people pushing against. If you build something great, there's always going to be someone that wants to take it from you.
Have you? Thank you for sharing it. Have you and Elaine noticed, like some of your friends, as you guys were both coming up, right? Have you guys noticed your friends kind of change, or maybe even, let's say, how can we put that? Let's say some of your friends are maybe not hoping for your success because they want you to stay at their level. You know what I mean? And if you're coming up to this level and they don't know how to come up to this level, you guys are at different wavelengths, different levels. Have you had to ever change your friendship groups out, or kind of switch people out and get in line with people that are also with that positive mindset, want to keep their body fit, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID did that to a lot of us. COVID hit because if you're going to spend time with people and you may get sick, you're gonna irrationalize who I want to spend my time with. So during that time, me and my wife both lost our best friends of almost 16 to 20 years.
Wow.
And it was a jealousy thing, and it was kind of that vibe because they weren't moving at the same level, or just going different places in their life. And for me, I started wanting to seek people when I met Fast Lane Drive. That was kind of the time we started hanging out with people because they were positive and they were entrepreneurs. A lot of them, not everyone's at the same level. And there's some people that are bigger and better. And there's some people that are blowing smoke, having a Ferrari or renting their apartment. But most of the time they're positive, right? So for me, will I hang out with someone like, if they're positive purely, whether they're doing big things, they make $100,000 a year, but they're super positive? Yeah, I'm fine being around them. I'll talk to them and spend my time. But if you're making millions and you're negative, I don't need the time or energy. So me and my wife have this conversation a lot. Like there's a lot of people I like I'd love to hang out with, but is it worth my time anymore? Right? It sounds bad to say that. Like I feel a little bad to say that as a person, but I had to get to that point and say, hey, listen, yes, they're great people. Yes, they have a good family, but they've been stagnant for 10 years. They're not making me better. They don't understand what we're going through. We're kind of forcing the relationship because we've known them for so long.
Interesting.
So we started stopping that. Like I'm only hanging out with people that I feel good, I have a good energy with, have a good vibe with, that motivate me to be better. And time's valuable, especially as an entrepreneur. There's only so much time in my day, and I have a family. I don't want to take time away from them with people I don't want to be with. So at this point, I pick and choose who I'm going to spend time with, because that's my time, and that's the one thing, as all of us have, there's only so much. So
I think that's essential. What you said really resonated as forcing the relationship. It feels like you're just doing it because of maybe some history or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, and I've had that too, growing up with nothing, but you're kind of forcing those relationships, and then you come home and you're like, I didn't gain anything from this day. You feel shorted versus like someone that motivates, et cetera. You talked about Fast Lane. Shout out to Clement. He's a great guy. people, when he came on the podcast, I've had so many people message me. I could hear this guy talk forever. I think he should start a podcast with his French accent. It was beautiful. How do you, there are people there that have egos, just like in any success group, right? How do you deal with people that have these egos that come on as like, Mr. I did it all, but may not have it, or, you know, they're arrogant or cocky? How do you process those people out? Or do you bite your tongue? It's as if they're talking politics and they're on the wrong side.
Well, I will say the one good thing about that group, and hats off to Clement, like I said, it's been a great thing since I joined the club. Like, usually I don't meet too many people like that in the club. Most people I've met in the club have been very nice and positive, right? There's, like I always say, the only thing is everyone at the same level? Not that it has to be at the same level. That's not the requirements of the club. For me, it's the people blowing the smoke, right? Like, if you rent your Ferrari, you don't own a house, you have no assets, like, are you successful?
Yeah.
No, sorry. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. There's a difference between, like, I'm wearing Louis Vuitton shoes and renting everything in my life. To me, that's not success, honestly. You know, and
I agree with it. I totally agree with it. It's the LA, Miami kind of vibe of, the wrong investment potentially in the wrong time frame of your life, right? A lot of people talk about having those things with passive income coming in versus just spending all this money. I've met someone on actually the Real Housewives of Miami, a husband. He's like, I won't even rent a car. He's like, that's a payment I have to make so many times. Either I could buy it or I can't. And he's like, and he owns a lot of commercial real estate. But how do you, like, when you see those people, and they're talking to you and they're showing off this, bravado, so to speak, are you just like, just nodding or what? And it doesn't have to be fast lane. I mean, you're popular. It's everywhere.
Meet people all the time. Like, I mean, the one thing about fast lane is a lot of people have great style, right? Like, I usually wear crazy shoes, jackets. I know for my style. And